now for our next news special report.
Tonight we're diving deep into a story that's sending shockwaves throughout Washington. Jim Jordan, a name synonymous with tenacity in the House Judiciary, has just laid out a plan that could redefine the presidency itself. We're talking about impeachment charges against President Joe Biden, a move that's raising eyebrows and burning up the political wires. 3 charges, each more serious than the last, are on the table. This isn't just another political tussle, it's a seismic shift in the landscape of American politics. So what is at stake? The integrity of our republic, the accountability of its highest office, and the very fabric of our nation's governance. And I promise you, by the end of this report, you'll understand why this isn't just news, it's a turning point in history. So stay with us for a final thought that will leave you rethinking everything you thought you knew about the Biden administration. Now, before we delve into the heart of our report, a quick word from our sponsors who make this crucial journalism possible. Just like the intricate web of political ties we're unraveling today, our health is often impacted by hidden factors. Excess belly fat, seemingly benign, can be a silent threat, pressuring our vital organs, much like undue political influence can compromise the integrity of our governance. That's why many, including myself, turn to this innovative product designed to reduce fat storage, accelerate fat breakdown, and support overall weight management. It's a powerful tool in maintaining our health, akin to transparency in maintaining a healthy democracy. And now you can get 51% off for a limited time. Visit trimwithgary.com and take control of your well-being. Now let's get right into it. The impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden's not just political theater, it's shaping up to be a full-blown criminal investigation. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan, a name synonymous with the relentless pursuit of truth, has laid out a case that could potentially see Biden impeached. And the charges, well, they are as serious as they come: bribery, abuse of power, and obstruction of justice. Watch.
In Delaware, part of the five-year investigation into Hunter Biden. Servant David Weiss allegedly deviated from protocol for preferential treatment. That's the allegation, and is known to be a Democratic campaign donor. Leslie Wolf. How could one person hold all of this up? Is it that simple?
Well, I think it was the whole investigation, as you pointed out, Bill. It took him 5 years. It's still ongoing now. It's now a special counsel. David Weiss has been named special counsel. But Leslie Wolf, according to Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, is the lady who said we're not going to look into campaign finance concerns that Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, and others of the investigative team thought should be examined. She's the one who said you can't use the term big guy when you do any interviews. You can't talk about political figure number one, who we all know was Joe Biden. So we want to ask her questions about all that. And maybe most importantly, why the investigation decided to let the tax years 2014-2015, when the bulk of the Burisma income was coming into Hunter Biden, why they let the statute of limitations lapse for those years. My theory is when you get into Burisma, you get to the White House. I mean, it's one thing to charge Hunter Biden on a gun charge in Delaware. That doesn't involve Joe Biden. But you get into Burisma, it does, because this is a Ukrainian energy company that paid Hunter Biden so much money. So we want to ask her some questions about that as well.
And then what will happen to that testimony? I think there was a little bit of confusion yesterday about what Hunter Biden said he was coming to do or not. So this is a closed-door deposition, but will you be able to release a transcript of that, or do you hold that?
You hold those transcripts. We will release them at some point, but you don't want to release it until you've interviewed everyone else, because you release it, there's sort of a template that the next witness who you want to bring in has for what questions are coming. So typical investigations, you do these depositions behind closed doors. There's a transcript obviously developed, and then at some point you release a transcript, you do a report. But in an impeachment inquiry, there will be some kind of report obviously at some point if we decide to move to articles of impeachment.
You mentioned these years, 2014 and 2015. Do you consider those to be the most serious charges?
Yeah, because I think the theory of this case is, I think it's an old story. You got a politician who does certain things, those actions benefit his family financially, and then there's an effort to conceal it. Yeah, I think the effort to cover it up and conceal it was, the way David Weiss and Leslie Wolf handled this investigation. But if you really go back to the start, it's Hunter Biden's involvement with Burisma. I say this all the time. There are 4 fundamental facts here. Fact number 1, Hunter Biden gets put on the board. Fact number 2, he's not qualified to be on the board of Burisma, this Ukrainian energy company. He said so himself. Fact number 3, the executives at Burisma asked Hunter Biden, weigh in with your father, help us with the pressure we are under from the prosecutor. Key fact number 4 is Joe Biden goes to Ukraine just 3 days after he gets that request. and conditions the funding of Ukraine that's already been approved on the firing of that very prosecutor who's applying the pressure to the company that Hunter Biden sits on the board of. Those facts are, I think, clear as could be. And that is sort of the pattern. This is when it's all started. And then you have the actions, of course, with David Weiss in the Justice Department and how they left those key tax years out of any charging, even though Mr. Ziegler, Mr. Shapley, and the rest of the investigative team thought they should have been charged.
Yesterday, when Hunter Biden went on to Capitol Hill and gave that statement, he used a very specific word. Listen here.
Let me state as clearly as I can. My father was not financially involved in my business, not as a practicing lawyer, not as a board member of Burisma, not in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, not in my investments at home nor abroad, and certainly not as an artist.
Your reaction to that particular word, financially?
No. Yeah, I think, Dana, you've hit on the key word. This is what we saw yesterday right away as well, because that qualifier, I think, is important. Because, again, remember the pattern. Initially, Joe Biden said, I had no involvement whatsoever, none at all, with my son's business. This summer, when we deposed Devin Archer, one of Hunter Biden's business partners, the story changed. Well, there were dinners, there were meetings, there were phone calls, but we just talked about the weather. There was no business talk. Now it's he wasn't involved financially. So, again, I think that just raises the concerns we've had all along and shows that, because if you come back to the fundamental question, what were they providing? What was the service? What was the product? What were they offering? And it seems obvious to me, I think obvious to anyone with common sense, it was access to the brand that Devin Archer talked about in his deposition, and the brand was Joe Biden. Access to the guy who had influence. That was what they were offering.
Sir, thank you for your time. Feels like we're just at the beginning of this.
Thank you.
Again.
At the beginning, no doubt. Now, the core of Jordan's argument hinges on a complex web of family business dealings. It's a narrative of political influence allegedly used for personal gain, with Hunter Biden's business activities at its center. The impeachment inquiry is anchored on a series of events and transactions that, according to Jordan, demonstrate a clear pattern of abuse in power. So let's break this down. The first charge, bribery, centers around the allegation that Biden, during his vice presidency, may have accepted benefits in exchange for political favors. This isn't just a question of ethical misconduct. It's a serious criminal charge that strikes at the heart of our republic's integrity. Bribery in high office undermines public trust and corrodes the very foundations of our government. The second charge, abuse of power, is equally grave. It suggests that Biden used his high office to further his family's business interests. This goes beyond mere nepotism. It's about wielding power in ways that aren't just unethical, but potentially illegal. In a republic, power is a sacred trust from the people, not a tool for personal enrichment. And the third charge, obstruction of justice. It's about covering up these alleged misdeeds. It's one thing to commit a crime, but it's another level of corruption to manipulate the levers of power to conceal it. This is where the integrity of our legal system and the accountability of our leaders are put to the ultimate test. Now let's analyze that video clip. What we see here is a detailed outline of the allegations. Jordan's focus from shifting the narrative from Hunter Biden in the White House is particularly telling. Initially, there was a complete denial of Joe Biden's involvement in his son's business affairs, but as more information has come to light, that story has changed, morphing into a vague acknowledgement of non-financial involvement. This isn't just a change of a story, it's a potential red flag pointing to deeper issues. Hunter Biden's claim that his father wasn't financially involved in his business activities is a significant departure from earlier statements. This seismic shift from no involvement to no financial involvement might seem subtle, but in the world of legal and political scrutiny, it's a chasm. It raises questions about what involvement really means and whether there's more to the story than meets the eye. Jordan's inquiry isn't happening in a vacuum. It's unfolding against the backdrop of a Biden family business empire that's as complex as it is opaque. House Oversight Chair James Comer's revelation of a network of shell companies used to funnel money from overseas business deals adds another layer of complexity to the investigation. The subpoena of James Biden, the president's brother, to explain a significant payment marked as a loan repayment only deepens the intrigue. And the key to understanding the saga lies in the intricate web of relationships and transactions that span the globe. From Ukrainian energy company Burisma to Chinese business dealings, the scope of the inquiry is vast. It's not just about Hunter Biden's role on the board of Burisma or his art dealings. It's about the extent to which these activities were intertwined with Joe Biden's political influence. The involvement of Hunter's business partners, Devin Archer, Eric Sherwin, Jim Biden, Rob Walker, and Kevin Morris, is critical. These aren't just peripheral figures, they're central to understanding the flow of money and influence. The investigation needs to unravel how these relationships worked, what services or benefits were exchanged, and how they potentially linked back to Joe Biden. So what's at stake here isn't just the political future of President Biden, it's about the integrity of our republic and the rule of law. If these allegations are proven, they could represent one of the most significant breaches of trust in our nation's history. Yet it's important to approach this inquiry with a critical eye. We must sift through the accusations and counter-accusations, the political posturing, and the genuine concerns. As we delve deeper, we must ask ourselves, are these charges politically motivated, or do they reveal a genuine abuse of power? The answer to this question will shape not just the future of the Biden presidency, but the very fabric of our republic. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. This isn't just about staying informed, it's about engaging in the process that holds our leaders accountable. In wrapping up this report, it's crucial to recognize the significant efforts of Representative Jim Jordan in spearheading this impeachment inquiry. His unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth amidst a complex web of political and family business dealings is commendable. Jordan's tenacity exemplifies the vigilance that's needed to uphold the principles of our republic and ensure that those in the highest office are held to the highest standards of integrity and accountability. On the other side of the coin, the allegations against President Joe Biden paint a troubling picture of criminality and misuse of public office. If these charges are substantiated, it will represent a profound betrayal of the public trust, a stark deviation from the values upon which our nation was founded. This inquiry isn't just about one man's actions, it's about preserving the sanctity of our system and ensuring that no one, regardless of position, is above the law.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.